So right now I'm live on YouTube, and before I go any further, the topic of discussion is routines. I've been talking about morning routines and routines throughout this month. So we're gonna bring it all together for this video. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring it all together. And another thing I wanted to mention, this is a live stream. So my intentions, it is meant for you to interact with me. So feel free to leave a comment at any time. I would love to receive your feedback. So let's grow and let's go. So let's talk about routines. So I tapped in on morning routines, right? So I feel like for those who are watching, and include myself, many of us are mindful of morning routines. I think all of us do something or some things in regards to morning routines. And what's the purpose of a morning routine? What is the reasoning for us to engage in things in our morning routine? And I feel like with that, I feel like it sets us up. It potentially puts us in a position where we can have a well-rounded, quality, productive day, depending on what you're doing in the morning when you first wake up. And I got to tell you this, when that alarm goes off, let me ask you, when that alarm goes off to wake you up, what is the first thing that you are doing? And I got to tell you about this alarm clock. So I remember back in my day when I was a young whippersnapper, when the alarm clock used to go off, I just used to reach over and just hit that alarm clock, hit the button on top of the alarm clock. You know that, you be asleep and then all of a sudden, that alarm goes off. You just reach over and just hit it, right? Sometimes you hit snooze, sometimes you just hit it off, right? And sometimes we may want to lay in bed for a little bit longer. And sometimes we'll get right up and do what we need to do, right? And that thing is still around. That alarm clock is still around, right? Where some of us, we just reach over and hit that alarm when it goes off. But there's also our device. Some of us use our device as an alarm to go off to wake us up in the morning. Now, with that, that is potentially the trick of the enemy, the trick of the devil. I believe that because it's like once the alarm goes off on our phone, on our device, we'll pick up our phone and it's like, and it's been stated. I've come across different sources online that it's been stated that one of the first things you don't want to do waking up is getting on your phone, right? So again, that's why I say with us having that alarm on our phone is potentially the trick of the enemy, the trick of the devil. Think about it. So once that alarm goes off, you pick it up, you hit snooze or dismiss or whatever you hit. And then from there, what do you do next? While you got the phone in your hand, you go and check emails. You go into your nearest social media site. It's the trick of the devil. Again, there were some sources I came across said that's the last thing you want to do when you wake up, especially when you first wake up, is to check your emails, check your phone. Now, I understand, like, depending on where you are in life, depending on the dynamic, maybe you get up making sure that, no one texts you with any emergencies or no one called you in regards to, just making sure everybody's all right. You want to check that real quick, that's fine. I get that. But as far as like, checking emails, whether it's personal emails or work emails, there's a time and place for that. And most likely the time and place is not as soon as you wake up. But we fall for that, right? Because we already got the device in our hand. So many of us, we may say to ourselves, you know what? I might as well check it. I got it right here. Let me go and look at the emails real quick. We want to go on social media and see what we miss. FOMO, I think they refer to it as fear of missing out. Man, what's been going on? What these people talking about on social media? We doing this as soon as we wake up in the morning. And to some, that's okay. And you know what? That's actually a routine if you think about it, because some of us are doing this on a daily basis. As soon as we wake up, we checking, hey, what they saying on social media? What are my emails? What's going on with my emails? Let me check my work email. Let me get a head start when I go to work in a few hours, but let me get a head start. Let me check my work email. Trick of the devil. Checking our personal emails. Trick of the devil. Going to book facing and my place, and don't mind me, y'all. That was sort of like a Bill Belichick impersonation. If you know, you know. But anyway, shout out to Bill Belichick. But anyways, you know what I mean. You go to social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and you want to see what's going on. It's the trick of the devil. But again, I just feel like, and not only, with me feeling like this, but also the various sources I come across. That may not be the ideal thing to do when you first wake up, the very first thing to do, because there are some other things that you can do. And as I mentioned before, there's a time and place for everything. So you don't necessarily have to go on social media the first thing you do. You haven't even stretched yet. You probably ain't went to the restroom and brushed your teeth and relieve yourself, clean yourself up. You ain't did that yet. You checking your emails and you checking social media. You know what I'm saying? So at least you can do is go wash your behind, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Making sure everything good. So that's why I say it's a time and place for everything. So you can always check your social media. Whatever is meant for you to see on social media, you're going to get to it. So it's all good. You don't have to do that at the crack of dawn. You feel me? Emails, you telling yourself, hey, let me get ahead of my work. Let me check my emails. Time and place for that. You don't have to do that as soon as you wake up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can do that while you're eating breakfast. As early as that. Or, once again, if you're washing up and you're getting ready, if you can do it, but probably eating breakfast is probably one of the best times to do it. But yeah, so there are some things that I shared with you in a previous video in regards to suggested actions, suggested things that we need to do in regards to morning routine. And as I mentioned before, checking your email and checking your social media is probably not the very first thing you want to do. But instead, one of the first things that we could probably do at the crack of dawn when we first wake up in the morning is to seek inspiration. Now, seeking inspiration can be a number of things, right? And I'll even put prayer and meditation into that as well. So seeking inspiration, prayer and meditation, that's one of the things that we can incorporate into our morning routine. And I feel like it's a really good thing to do. It's beneficial to do because it gives us an opportunity to clear our minds, right? So if you're seeking inspirations, one of the things that I like to do is I was actually having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was just talking to somebody about this young lady. She got out of church or whatever. We was talking about it, and one of the things I shared with it was that one of the things that I love to do, one of the first things I love to do waking up is I tap into some YouTube video. I tap in some audio. One of my go-to people is Dr. Miles Monroe. And some of you may know Dr. Miles Monroe, some of you may not. But this brother, he passed away tragically. I believe it was in the 2010s. I don't remember the year. Forgive me, I don't know that. But he's an inspirational spiritual speaker, right? So and although he's no longer with us, he went on to go with the Lord. His message still holds some heavyweight. I love his message, man. That's one of the things that I work into my routine, not so much on a daily basis, but more days out of the week than not. I tap into Dr. Miles Monroe. And if I'm not tapping into Dr. Miles Monroe, I'll listen to some Les Brown audio. I will listen to Dr. Eric Thomas. I've talked about, these particular guys. I speak on them. I've spoken on them numerous times. If we've been connected long enough, whether it was the podcast, whether it was a YouTube channel, Dr. Miles Monroe, Les Brown, Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. I be tapping into those guys and just listening to like audio in general, man. Whatever come across my feed, whether it's on YouTube or social media, whatever, how you come across them clips, inspirational clips. That's what I come across. So that's my way of seeking inspiration. that's part of my routine. That's part of my morning routine is seeking inspiration, and also prayer and meditation. Just kind of, going into the day with a clear mind and conscious, tapping in with tapping in with my God, tapping in with your higher power is a very good thing to do as well, right? So that's one of the things I do, just kind of prepare me for the world, tap in with God, talk to myself, encourage myself, inspire myself, affirm a few things, and then it's all forward going, with that. So yeah. Seeking inspiration, prayer and meditation, that's something that I would encourage you to suggest in regards to implementing that into your morning routine. Another thing that I wanted to share with you is getting active. Getting active. When you get up in the morning, as soon as you rise up in the morning, right? What are you doing? And I'm going to ask this question numerous times. As soon as you wake up in the morning, what is it that you do? I remember back in the day, back in the Gap, we used to get up and, if you just rise up out of bed and you just give this nice stretch, just a nice stretch, you know what I'm saying? And it only takes a few seconds, right? Even just a nice, good stretch takes a few seconds, right? So yeah, I would definitely encourage you to do that. Do not forsake the stretching. I know I've said it before and I'm saying it all over. Do not forsake your stretching. Stretching, man, it just, loosens the body up. Get all them kinks out of your joints and your muscles and all that good stuff. I love stretching, man. I started stretching some time ago, and stretching has done wonders for me. I mean, I'll stretch in the morning, I've stretched throughout the day, I've stretched at night, and it just does wonders, man. I mean, stretching, man, I feel like, and I've seen this somewhere before, man, that stretching could potentially extend our life. And it definitely helps with our mobility. So you think about it, implementing stretching into your morning routine. If you think about it, you've been laying down sleep for 6 to 8 hours, prior to getting up. So what better way to wake up them joints, wake up them muscles than to stretch? Get yourself loose, get ready. You've been laying down all night. So it's time to stretch. It's time to stretch. So I would definitely encourage and recommend that one stretches in the morning. Incorporate that into your routine as well. And another thing that I would encourage you to do is just being mindful of the food and beverage that you consume. Be intentional in what you're eating in the morning. It's good to have like a nice sized breakfast. Don't overdo it, but have like a nice, healthy, hearty breakfast. Something that's going to give you the energy that you need as you go forward in your journey in the day, right? So that's very important. Some have said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and it very well could be. Breakfast has done wonders for many of us, especially if it's like nice and hearty and healthy. You know what I'm saying? On the other hand, something that I like to engage in from time to time is intermittent fasting. That's something that I do. So one of the first things that I like to do is I like to drink water in the morning. I'll drink water in the morning, right? And just to add to that, I'll put some lemon in there, and I'll do that. I'll do that the night before or the day before. The day before, I'll cut up some lemons. I'll put it in my water and just let it sit in the water overnight. That way, I have the water in my bedside. And one of the first things that I do is I drink water. And there's benefits to drinking water. It's very beneficial in drinking water in the morning. It helps with digestion for one, and with that, if anything, it just helps you feel good on the inside, right? And it's just better overall in regards to health and wellness as you go forward in your journey, whether it's health and wellness or you going throughout the day. It's very beneficial to drink water. Add some lemon to it. You can add some cucumbers to it, maybe some mint. You know what I'm saying? And these are based on tips that I receive. But my go-to in regards to water is either regular water or it is lemon water. And I drink lemon water like throughout the day as well. So not only do I drink lemon water in the morning, But even when I go out to eat somewhere, if I'm sitting down, I ask whoever's, serving me, hey, could I get a water with lemon? That's part of the routine as well. So just being mindful of the food and beverages that you consume, that's another thing I want you to be mindful of when it comes to your morning routine. And from there, another thing that I want to share with you is to strategize your day. Put some plan into action, create a plan for your day. What goals that you want to set, what goals that you want to accomplish throughout the day. How many goals? Is it just one big goal? Is it multiple goals? But this is the opportunity in the morning for you to prioritize your goals, and I feel like, and I'm going to talk about this in depth later into the video, but the night before, perhaps you want to write down the tasks that you have to do and what goals you want to accomplish. You want to write that down the night before and then just kind of go over it in your morning routine. Just go over, hey, this is exactly what I'm going to accomplish. I'm going to do it at this time. This is what I need to do. Blase, 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 whatever you need to do, right? So yeah, strategize your day. That's another thing that I would like to encourage you to incorporate into your morning routine. So those were a few tips that I shared with you before. So once again, if you're watching this, go check out the previous video that I posted on my YouTube channel, the Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. Go check that out. I talked about morning routines, right? So along with that, so as you get past your morning routine, give me just a moment. So as you go along throughout your day, there may be some things that you do routinely during the day, right? Many of us, we work, we have a job, we have a career. That's a routine, right? That's a routine in itself. There are some other things that you can do in regards to routine, along with having a career, a job. You may have your own business. You may be a freelancer. You may be an independent contractor. So again, that's what goes back to what I mentioned before. It's planning out your day, strategizing your day. What are you going to do? How are you going to execute? So that's part of a daily routine as well. Now, there may be some things that I shared with you that you can do in the morning that you can do throughout the day as well. As I mentioned before, stretching. I told you that I stretch in the morning, I stretch during the day, and I stretch at night. So that's just something I do. Getting active. Some people may take a walk in the middle of the day. Some people may work out in the middle of the day instead of doing it in the morning. Some people may do that. Even what we consume in regards to food and beverage, just being mindful of what we're eating. If we're really just trying to, tapping in and we're tuning into our health and wellness, just trying to be better, just being mindful of what you eat throughout the day as well. At what time you're going to eat. What are you going to eat exactly? That can potentially be part of your routine as well. I mentioned intermittent fasting. So with that, you may not eat until either late morning or early afternoon. That can be part of your routine as well. Now, that's been a part of my routine, intermittent fasting. That's something that I did quite a bit of in the year 2024, that I really just tap into intermittent fasting. And I will my goal was to do intermittent fasting at least 4 days out of the week. Some weeks I did it all 7 days. Some weeks I did it 5, 6 days, but I like to do it at least 4 days out of the week, intermittent fasting, So it in essence, it was a routine for me, intermittent fasting, right? Working out, but as always, we are a continued work in progress in regards to all that, right? So just be mindful of that. The things that not only in the morning, but the things that you do throughout the day, it's routine as well, right? Whatever you're doing, again, whether you're working, whatever you may be doing, it's routine. So just be mindful of that. So let's talk about night routines. Let's talk about night routines. We talked about morning routines. Let's do a recap of night routines. So the first thing that I want to introduce you to is something that came to my attention. Well, first and foremost, the night routine things. So as I mentioned before, many of us are mindful of morning routines. We're mindful of that, but maybe I'm late to the party, but I never really just thought about having a night routine until recently. And when I say recently, it was pretty much at the end of 2024. And why I feel like this was placed on my mind and on my spirit was because really just going into 2025, because there was a point in time I just had a hard time sleeping through the night. I don't know what it was. And when I say a hard time, I'm not talking about like waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, because that's something that I kind of became accustomed to. You know, that was part of my routine as well, waking up 3 in the morning and just getting up and taking care of some things and doing some things. But there was a point of time that I was inconsistent in regards to sleeping through the night. And when I say that, I would go to bed, right? I would go to bed at probably about maybe 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I would wake up probably at about midnight or 1 o'clock. So I wasn't getting enough sleep. So I would get up and I would either try to go to sleep, or I would try to get up and try to do something. And eventually I would go back to sleep, right? And that's something that I would not prefer to do, but it is what it is. I don't prefer, I would rather sleep through the night if I could. So really, it was just really placed on my spirit, hey, why don't you establish a nighttime routine? So I started doing that, right? And I started doing research, came across some information as far as what are some things that I can do to help me out. And I was always, I would wonder, why am I not sleeping through the night? But then, I switched it. I'm like, what can I do about it? Let me solve this problem. And I started doing that. And again, this is a continued work in progress. I'm doing some things. I have done some things that has helped me. So, praise God for that. So these are some things that I want to share with you that you could potentially add to your nighttime routine. Just suggestions. And again, in turn, it has helped me out as well, right? So the first thing that I want to share with you is to start reducing your screen exposure. It's been said, I've come across a number of sources online where it stated that, it's not ideal to be on your phone or your laptop or your iPad, tablet, or whatever. It's not ideal to be on that, less than an hour before bedtime, because I guess it acts as a stimulation to the mind, to the eyes, that type of thing. There's, the light that comes off the screen. It could potentially disrupt your sleep rhythm, your sleep pattern. So yeah, I came across that information some time ago. So that's why I say, man, just work on reducing your screen exposure. So, I've been told, and I just shared with you, maybe an hour before bedtime. I will go as far as say maybe 2 hours before bedtime. So let's say you go to bed at 9 o'clock, right? And if you can, try to make it a point, maybe 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30 at the latest. Start shutting it down, start winding it down. An hour and a half, 2 hours before you go to sleep. If you got to cut off your phone, if you got to put it on do not disturb, shut down your laptop, shut down your iPad, your tablet, shut it down, right? Just work on that. Work on it. Hey, what do you got to do to start, reducing that screen exposure? Start to wind it down. And that's what I refer to nighttime routines, aka the wind down. Start winding it down. That way, you can give your senses an opportunity to just kind of bring it down, right? And prepare you as you go to bed. So that's one of the things that I would suggest that you think about, that you consider when it comes to your nighttime routine, is to start reducing your screen exposure. I mentioned stretching. I shared with you that it's beneficial that you stretch in the morning because you've been laying down for several hours. You've been asleep for several hours. So what better thing to do is stretch when you first get up. Also, with stretching at night, you think about it. You've been moving around throughout the day. You've been on your feet. Some of us have jobs where we're sitting down for extended periods of time. You know, they can have an effect on our lower body, our lower back. And again, standing up for extended periods of time, that can, you know, have an effect on our legs and our feet and our ankle. Stretching, it relieves that stress. It relieves that pain that you may have in your lower back or your feet and your ankles. Stretching is very beneficial to incorporate in your nighttime routine along with your morning routine, and stretching throughout the day as well. I mentioned that before. So stretching, that's another thing that you can incorporate into your nighttime routine. Meditation, right? You know, night and day. It's a correlation between morning routine and nighttime routine. You can incorporate meditation into your nighttime routine as well. If you think about it, right? If you think about, you know, what you've been through throughout the day, the things that you've been hearing, the things that you've been consuming, the things that you've been receiving. Meditation gives you an opportunity to collect your thoughts, you know, just kind of, you know, put it all in one place. And you can just kind of, you know, take deep breaths as you're doing meditation. Tap in with your God, the higher power. You know, just again, just affirming things, just, you know, just being grateful and being thankful, gotten to this point of the day that you got through the day. So meditation, as I mentioned before, along with incorporating that in your morning routine, you can do it in your nighttime routine as well. So meditation. Another thing is reading and writing. Reading and writing. So those two things can be beneficial in regards to a nighttime routine. You know, reading, as I mentioned before, reducing your screen exposure just kind of winds down your senses. Reading sort of does the same thing. It eases your mind. It eases your mind. It kind of winds down your mind. Again, I mentioned with meditation, all the things that you receive, all the things you've been told, you know, all the things that you've been sensing throughout the day. Meditation can sort of wind that down along with reading, right? So I would definitely encourage people to read something to kind of ease the mind, you know, bring the mind down, right? Relax the mind. And along with that, writing. I love writing. I make it, see, for me, writing, I'm really working on that to be a nightly routine for me. That's something that I've all of a sudden, I don't want to say all of a sudden, but it's been probably several months. I'm starting to love writing to the point where if it's not a passionate thing for me now, it's going to be my passion. It's writing. But I love writing. You know, I love writing notes. I write in a journal. So shout out to the people who write in their journals, who are journaling. You know, ladies, you know, you write in your diary perhaps, or you write in a journal as well. But shout out to the writers out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Whether you write blogs, whether you write articles, whether you write notes, you write a book, whatever the case may be, shout out to the writers. But that's something that I am working on personally. That's going to be part of my routine, which I am doing, right? But I feel like I'm not doing as much writing as I want to, but I am writing nonetheless. But writing, man, is so amazing in regards to a night routine because it can potentially be what I like to call a brain dump. You know, I mentioned before with meditation and reading, when you're receiving all these things, you know, you hear all this stuff, you're consuming all this stuff, right? Writing gives you an opportunity to just put everything out, right? Write down all your thoughts, write down your takeaways of the day, write down what you receive, and just get it all out. And just get it all out. Write it on there. And in that way, when you're writing and you're releasing this stuff on paper, you know, there have been a lot of times where many of us, including myself, where we go to sleep and then we wake up in the middle of the night, and we got these thoughts racing in the middle of the night that wakes us up, right? And especially like You ever like go to sleep and then you forget to do something and then it just wakes you up? Oh man, I forgot to do this. So number one, going back to what I say in regards to the morning routine is to strategize your day, strategize your day. You know, you write down the goals you want to accomplish, you write down the tasks that you need to do. We want to make sure that we finish those things. That way we don't have to worry about that, you know, tomorrow, or we don't have to worry about that waking us up because it just went off in our head. Oh man, I forgot to do this. But again, along with that, writing it down, writing all your thoughts down on paper, as I mentioned before, doing that brain dump, right? And then just leave it at that, right? Along with some other things. That way, again, you won't be waking up in the middle of the night with just racing thoughts going through your head, and then you can't go to sleep, right? So, yeah, those were some nighttime tips that I wanted to share with you that I would encourage you to do. But when it comes to routines, right? When it comes to, you know, doing certain things, incorporating certain things into our morning routine, our nighttime routine, and some things that we do throughout the day may be routine. It takes a lot of discipline. It really does. It takes a lot of discipline to not only do it, but to stay with it. And perhaps because it's something that we're not used to doing, right? Some of us were at a point of time where when we woke up, you know, we're not used to, you know, meditating or praying or being active, right? We're not used to it. So we're establishing a new habit, a new routine. So we're not quite used to it. And we may not do it every morning, or we may have a plan that say, hey, you know, I'm going to do this 3 times out of the week, you know, in the morning. And we may not accomplish that, but because it takes discipline, because it's something that we're not used to doing. And we're trying to establish that new habit, that new routine. So, yeah, with that, I just encourage you to stick and stay with it, because there are so many benefits to this. And if you think about it, these routines can potentially put you in a position, a morning routine. What you do in the morning could potentially put you in the best position to have the best day ever, for you to have a quality, productive day. Things that you do in the morning could potentially lead to that. Your night routine, your nighttime routines, what you potentially do at night could potentially, you know, give you the opportunity to get the best sleep, the best rest throughout the night. What's going on, Tony? Glad you can make it. Glad you can join me. But yeah, these things that we do with these routines, man, could potentially, you know, allow us to prosper. It can, you know, potentially allow us to be very productive throughout the day. So just be mindful of that. Routines. And when it comes to our routines, be intentional in what you're doing. Understanding what you're doing. Just always, you know, you want to ask yourself at all times. And this is something that I want to share with you for the year 2025, right? And I've seen a lot of you at the end of 2024. I've seen a lot of y'all. And I commend y'all for that. And I applaud y'all. A lot of y'all declared 2025 is going to be the best year for you. And I love it because you're claiming it, you're affirming it, and I love it. And I wish the best for you in the year 2025. With that, I feel like in order for it to be your year, your best year that you would ever have, I want you to keep this in mind, right? I want you to be mindful of what you're doing. No wasted movement. I want you to question yourself as much as possible. Whatever you do, whether it's a morning routine, whether it's a nighttime routine, I want you to question yourself. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And you have to be intentional about what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, it has to be a purpose behind it. Don't just be doing stuff just to be doing it. You know, why are you consuming certain foods and beverages? It's because I want to get better in regards to my health and wellness. Why are you working out? Why are you being active? because I want to feel good throughout the day. This is working out gives me a boost for me to go throughout my day. You know, why are you meditating? Because I want to clear my mind. I want to put myself in a position where I'm making better decisions throughout the day. Why are you meditating? Because I just want to tap in with my God and I want to have a good night's sleep, right? Why are you writing at night? Because I need to get all my thoughts out before I go to bed. I don't want my mind wandering throughout the night and it's waking me up. Question as much as you can all your actions. Question, ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And whatever you're doing, make sure it's a purpose behind it. Make sure that it's lined up with your goals, with what you're trying to do. Make sure that it's lined up, that it's aligning. So that's one of the things I want you to keep in mind. That's what I want to encourage you to do. Question everything. If you got to question every single thing, then do it. But make sure that you're moving with purpose. No wasted movement. Peace and blessings to you as you continue your journey. So I appreciate you all joining me. If you're just joining me, I want to encourage you to tap into my YouTube channel, the Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. If you're just joining me, whether you're on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube as well. So I'm on Instagram Live and I'm on YouTube Live right now. So if you're just joining me, I want to encourage you to check out the full video on my YouTube channel, the Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. So again, I'm going to keep it up on Instagram for a little bit, probably through the night. But in first thing in the morning, I'm going to go ahead and probably take it down on Instagram, but it's going to be on YouTube. So just in case you're joining me, we just been wrapping up conversations about morning routines and nighttime routines. So again, go check it out on the YouTube channel. But let me know. Feel free to let me know. Are you mindful of morning routines? Are you mindful of nighttime routines? Is there something that you do in the morning that is like non-negotiable? Is there anything that you do, whether it's being active, whether it's meditating, whether it's praying, you know, whether it's setting goals, you know, prioritizing your goals, you know, strategizing your day? Is there anything at nighttime that you like to do that's non-negotiable? Do you pray? Do you stretch? I mentioned that we want to start reducing our screen exposure. Is that something that you do intentionally? Is that something? Do you shut down your devices at night? What helps you in the nighttime? You know, what helps you sleep throughout the night? Morning time routines. What gets you going throughout the day? What is it? What is at least one thing that you do in the morning that keeps you going throughout the day? Feel free to leave a comment. I would love to receive your feedback. Let me know what you think. But that's it for me, y'all. Again, I appreciate you all tuning in, whether it was live, whether you catch the replay. And, you know, as I mentioned before, 2025 is our year. 2025 is our year. Keep affirming it. You was affirming it before, you know, you affirmed it at the end of 2024. And I just wanted to give you that reminder. We're 27 days into the year 2025. I just wanted to remind you, you know, very soon, it may be your time to start doing self-inventory on yourself. But just continue to remind yourself that 2025 is your year. Keep hope alive. Keep affirming. Keep claiming. So, once again, I'm Reggie B, aka the Growth Advocate. I appreciate you all tapping in, tuning in. And until the next time, keep growing and keep going.